They're going to, we meet them every day in real life. Well, they exist, in spirit realm as well.
Your personality doesn't change just
bet.
because you're dead.
You bet. If you're a character here, you're going to be a character on the other side. If you use some flowery language, you're going to probably be using it on the other side. Who you are here is who you are over there.
Kate, there were people trying to tell me that if I got dead, my personality would improve, so maybe there's
well,
something to that.
Unfortunately, we don't sprout wings and become all holy when we get to the other side. We just get to see outside the box. We get to see things on a full factor.
Well, guys, we've been talking about some of the things that go on in the area and some of the places and so on that we'll be looking at the tour, on these tours coming up. And the folks out in the other part of the station here have a video clip they want to show you to kind of frame what we're doing here on this program. So, Tracy and guys, if you want to run that video clip, we'll see what it has to say.
Welcome to Folklore and Frost, the big county and beyond. Have you ever seen what you thought might be a ghost or an apparition, or felt like someone was watching you when you were in an empty room? Well, you're not alone. And you might not be alone. Ever-increasing numbers of people are reporting encounters with paranormal phenomena. Television programs about ghost hunting and haunted places can be found on several popular channels. New York itself has many reportedly haunted places. Today, we travel to St. Lawrence County in northern New York on a search for the strange, the unusual, and the paranormal. We start our journey at the State University of New York at Potsdam, New York. This historic institution is listed as the oldest in the SUNY system. Potsdam College traces its roots back to St. Lawrence Academy, which was founded in 1816. An institution with nearly 200 years of history is bound to have its share of tragedies and strange occurrences. And students swear they've seen more than just a few ghostly happenings. Satterlee Hall was originally named Raymond Hall, after Benjamin Raymond, one of the founders of St. Lawrence Academy in 1816. In 1973, the name Raymond moved to the newly completed administration building, and the old Raymond Hall became Satterlee Hall, named after Dr. O. Ward Satterlee. Dr. O. Ward Satterlee, who served the college from 1947 to 1970 as professor and the first dean of education, lived on the third floor of the hall, up near the clock tower. It's a campus legend that the light on the third floor in the clock tower will sometimes turn on by itself late at night when no one is around.
The light from the clock tower is one of the oldest stories I've heard of. It's every once in a while you'll see the light in the clock tower come on when there's no one up there. It's the arched window where it used to be his offices, and it's now used mostly for storage, and no one goes in there at night. So when the light comes on, people take notice.
The third floor costume shop is also a hot spot for ghostly activity. A student working alone in the costume shop one day, many years ago, suddenly felt as though someone was watching her. The room was empty, so she returned to her sewing. The feeling of being watched was so strong, however, that she spun around to see who was in the room with her. Still, there was no one. Knowles Hall opened in 1967. The residence hall and dining facility was named after Liberty Washington Knowles, who opened the first law office in Potsdam in 1809. The residence hall has seen its share of paranormal activity. The east basement of Knowles has several ghostly stories. One evening, a male RA, or resident assistant, was making his rounds as fast as he could. He was feeling a little spooked, as though something were there with him. When he reached the end of the basement corridor, The open doors he had just passed slammed shut. Another story concerns a female student who liked to jog through the lower hallways of Knowles. One night, she glimpsed a person ahead of her walking into an open doorway. She felt as though she were being watched as she neared the room. She cautiously opened the door and looked inside to see an empty room.
We were doing an investigation at Knowles late one night, and we were actually in the kitchen, and we were investigating like the old meat coolers. And we'd heard footsteps. You know, earlier in the day we'd been chased, you know, and we could hear heavy boot steps. And then around that same time we got the get out, you know, and so we kind of were led to feel that that was a security guard of some sort, not really wanting us where we shouldn't have been.
While the spirit of a security guard may not want students where they shouldn't be, the ghost that reportedly haunts Hosmer Hall is probably pleased to see students rehearsing and performing on its stage. Hosmer Hall was completed in 1974 as the main performance hall of the new Creighton School of Music complex. The building is named for Helen Hosmer, who graduated from the Potsdam Normal School in 1919 and returned as a faculty member in 1922. She became the director of the Creighton Department of Music in 1930.
Over the years, I've had a number of students come to me and report seeing a figure in the balcony. Most distinct were two students, unrelated, that had come to me and said they were practicing alone there one night, and when they looked up, they saw a figure in the balcony just watching them. And without so much as blinking or turning away, the figure just disappeared from them.
Brambles Inn and Gardens on Elm Street in Potsdam is a Greek revival home built in 1842 by Henry Liberty Knowles. Henry was the son of Liberty Washington Knowles, for whom Knowles Hall at SUNY Potsdam is named. The nearly 170-year-old home is now a bed and breakfast, featuring beautifully decorated rooms that host both local and international guests. The former mansion of the Knowles family has its own unusual stories to tell.
We do have reports of various things happening in the house. Various knocks and noises up in the attic mainly. We sometimes catch glimpses of shadows out of the corner of our eyes as we're walking from room to room. One instance on the stairs was a really strong, overpowering smell of like an old-fashioned perfume, almost like a European or French perfume that they would wear in the Victorian times. That smell kind of came over us out of nowhere, and then it was gone just as quickly without any kind of explanation as to where it came from. Personally, I've seen shadows. And sometimes I'll just be standing and doing something around the house. Maybe I'm cooking breakfast for a guest or cleaning a bedroom, and I'll get the feeling that someone's there with me, like standing right beside me, sometimes even when there's obviously no one there.
Situated at 3 North Main Street at the corner of Main and Center is Spanky's Diner. In 1985, Alex Spanky Krewansik purchased the diner, and it is now owned by his daughter, Valerie LaValle. The diner is home to what Valerie says are 7 different ghosts, mostly active at night. They range in age from a little girl to an elderly white-haired man. Paranormal investigators have told her that the ghosts remain from what used to be the old hospital on the same grounds.
They've never hurt anybody. They kind of like throw napkins or plastic cups around, and you can feel them like walk by you. It's like a cold breeze coming by, and there's no windows open. There's no windows down here. If I was down here by myself at night, you would hear footsteps upstairs and doors slamming, and there would be nobody here but me. I can't keep help at night. It's very hard. I mean, we've been here 24 years, so we've learned to live with it, but the new people coming in, the employees, they don't like to stay here too late at night.